Hello and welcome. So today we are going to be talking about the sinking of the White Ship, a disaster that caused a succession crisis and a civil war. Right, so first, a little background. Right, Henry I was the youngest son of King William the Conqueror and Matilda of Flanders. He became king in 1100 after the mysterious death of his brother King William II. On the 11th of November 1100, Henry married Edith of Scotland. Now, Edith did change her name to Matilda on becoming Queen of England, so whenever she is mentioned, I'll be calling her Matilda. So Henry and Matilda had two children together. They had Matilda, who was born in 1102, and William Adelin, who was Henry's heir, who was born in 1103. As well as having two legitimate children, Henry also had loads of illegitimate children. He actually holds the record for the most illegitimate children born to an English king, with 22 recognised illegitimate children. In November 1120, Henry, his son William Adelin, two of his illegitimate children, Matilda Fitzroy and Richard of Lincoln, as well as other nobles, were in Barfleur in Normandy. When it was time to return back to England, Thomas Fitzstephen, who was a ship's captain whose father had actually captained the ship the Mora, which was William the Conqueror's flagship when he invaded England, he offered Henry his ship, the White Ship. But Henry had already arranged his return home and how he was going to do that. So he said for his son William Adelin and all the other nobles and actually member of Henry's royal household to take the White Ship back home. So on the 25th of November 1120, Henry left and sailed back for England. Now, the White Ship was meant to leave at the same time, but it didn't. It stayed back for a bit. And while they were waiting for the White Ship to set sail, every single person on board that ship, passengers, crew, everyone got really drunk with wine that was apparently supplied by William Adelin himself. When it came time for the White Ship to set sail, there was 300 drunk people on board. Now, some people had actually got off the ship because they were too drunk, and one of these people was actually Stephen of Blois, who actually eventually becoming King Stephen of England. It was also dark when it became time for the White Ship to leave, and the passengers on board actually ordered the captain, Thomas Fitzstephen, to see if he could go fast and to see if he could actually beat King Henry's ship back to England. Now, the captain and the crew did actually think this was a good idea, and they were actually confident that they would be able to beat Henry home because the White Ship was of the best construction. It was also very fast and it had just been fitted with new materials. So the White Ship set sail, but as it was leaving the harbour, it struck a submerged rock and began to sink. So William Adelin did initially survive the sinking, and he managed to get into a boat and get away, but then he saw that his half sister Matilda was in trouble, so he turned around his little boat and he went back to rescue her. But when he did that, all the other people that were in the water tried to climb aboard his boat to save themselves, and that ended up capsizing and William Adelin ended up drowning. So Henry's other illegitimate child, who was on board the ship, Richard of Lincoln, he died as well. But there were also other nobles that died in the sinking as well, and these included Richard, the second Earl of Chester, and his wife Lucia, who was actually the sister of the future King Stephen of England, Godfrey, the Royal Justice, Gilbert, Viscount of Exmeans, Godfrey, whose sister was actually the Queen Consort of Navarre. Now, he actually initially survived the sinking by clinging to a rock, but in the end he was come over with exhaustion and died. William Bigod, who's steward of the household of King Henry. Ralph the Red died on the White Ship. Godfrey, the Archdeacon of Hereford, and Dietrich, who was a relative of Henry V, the Holy Roman Emperor, died on the White Ship. There were other nobles that died, and also there were stewards, chamberlains, cupbearers, and various officers of King Henry's household. An armed marine force all died on the ship, and then there was approximately 500 Roman and sailors that died. The captain, Thomas Fitzstephen, also died in the sinking. He initially got to the surface, but when he had heard that William Adelin had died, he let himself drown rather than face King Henry. The only person who actually survived the sinking of the White Ship was a butcher from Rouen called Berod. Now, there is a little legend that says that the White Ship was actually doomed from the start because they refused to let priests onto the ship to bless it with holy water. So the death of William Adelin actually threw England into a succession crisis because Henry only had one other illegitimate child, a woman called Matilda. Now, at the time, men were considered better rulers than women, so Henry felt that he needed to produce another male heir. Now, Matilda had actually died in 1118, so Henry married again to Adeliza of Louvain in the hopes of having more children, but they didn't have any. So in the end, Henry made the barons swear an oath to his daughter Matilda that they would support her as his heir. But the barons were unsure about this because 1, Matilda was a woman, 2, a woman had never actually ruled England in her own right before, and 3, Matilda was actually married to Godfrey, Count of Anjou, and Anjou was traditionally an enemy of the English Norman nobles. When Henry died in 1135, his nephew Stephen of Blois, who was actually on the White Ship but got off of it just before it set sail, he usurped the throne from his cousin Matilda with the full backing of the barons. Now, Matilda was not happy about this, so she and her husband Godfrey of Anjou launched a war against Stephen to claim back the throne. Now, this war became a civil war and it lasted for 18 years, becoming known as the Anarchy. So that was the story of the sinking of the White Ship. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.